Hi, Victoria here. I'm going to bring you today the amazing chest and ribs massage. So join me to the end where we take 3 beautifully healing long breaths. Please subscribe. See you soon. So let's get on with that lovely upper chest massage. So first of all, we want to just be locating the ribs. So feel with all of your fingers that line just under the collarbone and then lower down. You're just introducing your hands at this stage. That's it. So you'll notice my chest now getting much rosier and full of all those lovely blood vessels and pumping that gorgeous rosy colour. So first of all, bring your hands into contact with your chest and give your chest a nice stretch. So you're separating. The intention is to bring your hands away from each other. Keep your shoulders nice and relaxed while you're doing this and just separate that area. That's wonderful. And now you want to bring one hand over and you've got your fingers under the pectoral muscle here into the armpit and you're stretching in this fashion. You won't be able to achieve so much movement as that, but that's the intention. So you're bringing it around like this, same the other way. So you're rolling and stretching that pectoral, but also at the same time it expands the chest. And then you want to not use your hands, but just bring your shoulders back, maybe even bow your head down slightly. And straight again, and expand. Lovely. So what it means if we're doing body reading with the chest is that some of us maybe are overdeveloped in the upper chest area, maybe with muscles and with work in the gym. And some of us are sort of more depleted in this upper chest area compared to looking at a whole torso, looking at the lower part of the body. And what that can mean from one side to the other is overdeveloped can seem like the person has lots of confidence, is assertive, is quite rational, but actually they may be making up for something that isn't in balance, especially if their lower body is more depleted in comparison to the upper body. So it may show actually that they're quite defensive and they are not as strong or maybe even quite weak in their own deliberations, decision making, and they are actually lacking assertiveness. On the other hand, someone whose chest is more depleted, maybe slightly rounded shoulders, and it gives the effect that the body is protecting the lungs and their heart. Obviously these are vital organs contained in the upper part of the body. So that can mean it looks depleted, and like I'm doing now, you can see the collarbone showing quite obviously. So that can mean that they need to recharge their batteries and they're scared to perhaps. So what it requires is to push the shoulders back, to stick out the chest, to take a nice long breath in. And inflate the upper body so it's in balance with the rest of the torso, the rest of the body. Because otherwise it can seem that the body is weary and withdrawn and in need of support. So all that they need is to stand tall, to make use of that lovely strong spine, to hold the shoulders back and to take a nice long breath in. And the more actions like that repeated over the days, then the more the body will come back to a perfect balanced structure. So what we're going to do now, having done some stretching and located between the ribs, is we're going to use our knuckles of both hands in a nice soft outward fashion like this. So I'm doing one circle coming out and doing another circle, and expanding my hands in this manner, starting each side of the sternum, and I'm starting just underneath that collarbone, the clavicle. Okay, that's really nice. How does that feel? Come down slightly. So contained in the chest here are some really important meridian points. They are really good reflex points for reflexology, but also for Chinese acupuncture and acupressure. So by locating them, especially by doing it to yourself, because you're taking on board ownership, independence for your own body. So by locating them, you are anchoring them and also massaging and activating them. Yeah, so I'm just going over the same points again in that upper chest. Feels really nice. So whatever is going on in your chest, this is going to feel good to do, but please do always be sensitive to how it feels, what's going on in your body and your life at the moment. So for instance, ladies who are breastfeeding or suffering with mastitis or recovering from breast cancer, ladies and gentlemen, then please do be careful in this area. Only do what feels good. But actually, if you do some of these moves, this will really help the milk flow and also help blood flow and therefore nutrients to the area to help with things like scar tissue. But please do ask your consultant or whoever health practitioner you're under to ask about your particular situation. If you've had lymph nodes removed, then you will need to massage in a slightly different manner, always working towards the lymph nodes that are still active in the body. Okay, so having done knuckling with all of your fingers here, we're now going to do straight knuckling. So we're going to be pulling the knuckles away in this fashion. Yeah, that's really good. Pull away. Now you can use oil if you want to. You see I've got nice and rosy there, but I'm not using oil today in order to show you how you can massage without oil. But if you wanted to use a nice sesame seed, sunflower oil, grapeseed oil, then by all means go ahead. You might want to add some essential oils. So as an aromatherapist, essential oils that I would use for the chest area in order to help the heart and the lung capacity, I would use ones like basil, eucalyptus smithii, ravensara, thyme in order to help any infections or get rid of infection. Niuli is a really nice one, I love that. Yeah, sandalwood, cedarwood. I don't really use sandalwood much anymore because it's unethical because of the trees, but there are some that are only using oil from trees where they are regrowing them at the same time from ethical plantations. So that's some nice stretching, knuckling. We're now going to do some pummeling. So that's with soft closed fists. And we're going to be doing the Tarzan. Ooh. Great. So do knuckling all over the chest, the sternum. You can hear my voice. Does yours do that? Over the clavicle more gently as it protrudes a little bit more to the skin. Oh, that's great. Especially on a hot day like this, it's making me feel much cooler, allowing me to take in more fresh air. Okay, so having done some knuckling and pummeling, we're now going to do a little bit of hacking. So normally hacking I would do on a client, and it would be with this fashion with my little fingers in contact with the body. But because I'm doing it this way, it's going to be with my thumbs in contact. How good a drummer are you? So we're going to be doing that drumming, using the hacking mechanism all over. Brilliant. Yeah. Okay, and now we're going to do some Petrissage. So I'm going to separate my fingers. I'm going to locate between the ribs that we found earlier, and I'm going to do that small circular outward direction move between the ribs. We always go outwards towards the lymph node. There's a really important lymph nodes under the armpits, and they will take all of the toxins from the white blood cells that are encouraged to move in this fashion. So one more of these, and then they'll take it into your waist and away. So after this, do have a nice long drink of water in order to encourage that movement of toxins in the correct direction. So having done the Petrissage, I'm now going to do the pulling between the ribs. You see it's making lots of nice red and white lines over my chest. That's good, nice and rosy, look at that. Now I'm going to do a beautiful mechanism, which is the tapping. Okay, some lovely tapping. These are like raindrops tapping. So you're separating your fingers nice and loosely, and I'm not doing it too hard at first, just tapping like this. This is really good for breath. It's really good for people who find it difficult to take a nice deep breath, like the second type of posture I was talking about, like this. So it really helps us to feel our lungs and to take deeper breaths even when we're not thinking about it, when we're subconsciously breathing very, very shallowly. So now, having done the raindrops tapping, we're going to be separating our fingers but tapping over the upper ribs and the clavicle more in this fashion, all the way to the armpits to help tell the auxiliary lymph node under that armpit that we are working for it. We know about it and we're helping. Oh, it's nice and cool as well doing this. It's like a fan. Okay, do you feel like you've done enough of that? Ah, wonderful. So let's go back to that stretching. Stretching the whole chest. Like this. That's good. So we're now going to work on these ribs here under the chest, but they come down in a upside down V. So you can feel there's a point here where it's still soft tissue, and they come down and then wrap around the sides of the back to the spine at the back. So what we want to be doing is first of all massaging this area. Now it's really interesting in massage therapy that this area isn't taught generally to massage therapists. So I feel like it's an area of the body that is missing out on therapy. It's missing out on massage therapy, on possibly reflexology, and yet with the therapies I've learned in more recent years, I've realised that there are ways to treat this area. Okay, just let your shoulders go for a moment. That's a lot of shoulder work. And now I want to actually move over the skin. So we're moving in this way and this way. So you're actually stretching the skin over the ribs. Same the other side. So with all these lines on my dress, you can see those ribs moving. So separate them. That's really good. And now we're going to do a lovely move where we're going to bring our fingers like we did on the chest, and we're going to locate between the ribs, yeah, and then petrissage from that V. Sometimes you'll find that you're on the ribs. That's okay, just don't hurt yourself too much. It might feel ticklish, but actually, isn't it a funny thing? We can't really tickle ourselves, so it should feel okay. But if someone was doing this to you, you'd be probably having a right good giggle right now. massage into the ribs. Let those shoulders go. My shoulders are aching after all of this work. Okay, that lovely Petrissage each side. You might find it easier to work with the opposite hand. So from the inside to the outside in this fashion, separate those fingers all the way to the midline. Same the other side. That's great. Lovely, okay. So now we've activated those areas between the ribs. We now want to bring the fingers out in this fashion, and we're going to use our fingers separately between the ribs, providing that lovely warmth in the soft tissue between the ribs. That's lovely. So the ribs actually meet at the middle here and then come downwards. So you're massaging in this fashion from the middle and downwards like this. That's great. So having done those wonderful movements around the ribs are now feeling loved and cared for, and they're not feeling any stress. You know, in this soft area, this soft tissue area in the V of the ribs, is a really important physical area in ourselves called the solar plexus. The solar plexus is a network of nerves, like a spaghetti junction, it's an area in Birmingham that's full of motorways and A roads and other smaller roads and roundabouts that is very easy to get lost on. So basically it's an area of lots of nerves, nerve endings and nerve signals that is in this area here. And in spiritual thinking, the chakra here, the solar plexus chakra, is called the Manipura chakra, and it's a beautiful yellow open lotus flower which resonates happiness, joy and self-esteem and self-confidence. And the more that we can massage and tune into this beautiful yellow area of ourselves, the more we open, and we're open-hearted as well. We're open to feelings, and we also acknowledge our own feelings. So the more that we can expand our chest when we're breathing, having done some lovely massage and stretching techniques on these areas, the more that we can tune into our own feelings and the feelings of others, and how important that is in this life for compassion, for self-compassion, and to get rid of stress. Okay, so let's breathe. Let's take 3 nice long breaths. See how the ribs expand. Feel how your ribs feel, your chest and your lower ribs here. That's wonderful. So thank you for joining me. I'll see you again next week, because I'm going to show you some lovely self-massage back techniques. See you soon.